We have that beautiful balance and proportion of the shoulders from side to side, and the torso is up nice and straight. So we're going to go really slow and hold the next position. Ladies, face the rear of the stage. So you do your beautiful hand movement. Here we kept the knee on the diagonal and we squeeze through that glute to keep that beautiful hourglass shape. Into your booty pop, keep that chin above the shoulder as you hit that position, showing that rear glute in that rotation here. Make sure you twist. Beautiful, that's it. Into the rear pose. Lovely, glutes are nice and tight. Here we discussed making sure we're not going to switch on the adductors. We've just got this quad switched on, focusing on that hip hinge back to get the glute hammy tie-in out, and anchoring the hands into the front of the thighs to maintain the chest up and eyes up. So from here, as we do this transition, we're going to try and keep our shoulders towards the back of the stage, and the hands are going to go soft here. Swing your hand with your hip as you do your beautiful transitions. Shoulders should be to the back there. So I'm not twisted already. The hands have started to come in. You then turn. That's that diagonal knee placement there also. And then we go push through the hip to get that muscle pushing out onto the skin.
I don't know if you can tell by looking at that video. I can tell that I am more tight, more seized up, a little bit more awkward, less flowy. And that's because I have not practiced my posing much in the last 2 weeks. And that is because one of my lovely little family members, this one here, 2 days ago he was in hospital having surgery, and before that I had a really bad feeling that he was going to need it, and I was right. So the stress of that has thrown everything out for me. I've done less workouts, done less posing practice, which means less mobility work and stuff like that. So I'm just being really honest that it's not always going to be motivational videos in these series of updates, because I'm not always motivated. Things go wrong all the time, and he's been in pain. He's not in pain now. He's on a lot of painkillers, but he's also had surgery which has made him feel much better. And he is on crate rest right now, but because he's a middle dog, when I put him in his crate, which is over there, or his pen, he just moves constantly because he wants to be with us. So when we're home, I feel like it's actually less risky to have him next to me, because then he just goes to sleep and relaxes, and that's better for his healing. Oh, so I've been trying to sit down more too, so that he sits down, and it's making my body seize up as well. I'm going to show you my Skinfolds, which I took on Thursday. Today's Sunday, so they're only a few days ago, so they're still quite recent. I weighed myself this morning and I was 59.6, and if I go all the way back to the 16th of March, which is roughly 8 weeks ago, or a little bit over, I was nearly 67 kilos that day. So in the last 8 weeks or so, I've lost 7 kilos, which is heaps. But when I show you my Skinfolds, which I'll show you later on, you're going to see that I've lost quite a lot of lean mass. But when you lose lean mass, it's not that you're necessarily losing muscle. I mean, it could be partly muscle, but it's more likely water and glycogen. For example, swelling and inflammation, which for me it absolutely was. Because if I show you a picture of what I looked like 8 weeks ago as opposed to now, you can see how much more bloated and puffy I was back then. So yeah, I have lost, out of that 7 kilos, I've definitely lost some fat. But you can see I've lost all the puffiness, the water retention. So now my face looks a little bit, starting to get that angular look again that you get when you get close to comps. And I certainly didn't have that in March. And that's mainly because back then, in March, or even late Feb, I was still paying for the consequences of having a really good Christmas holidays, where I ate a lot of delicious processed food. Something that can happen if you eat a lot of processed food, even if it's low calorie food, like low calorie processed options, your body will hold water. You'll be more bloated and puffy, because we're talking about carbohydrates, we're talking about some sort of sugars, some sort of fats, preservatives, whatever. So when you switch over to only whole foods, what's happening is you're eating food that's unprocessed and nutrient dense, but the calories are still quite low. So you will lose fat, but then you very quickly also lose a lot of the bloatedness and the puffiness. That's actually the first thing to go. So when you start really sticking to like your nutrition plan or whatever you're doing, you lose, one of the first things you do is lose the puffiness. So it's almost like you get a really fast result to begin with, and then it slows down, because once you've lost the puffiness, you can't lose that again. The only thing you can lose next is the fat. So that's where I'm at now. So let me show you. I filmed the Skinfolds too, in case you're interested. I do 7 different sites. I've had quite a few really good questions on some of my previous YouTube videos that some of them are, the answers are probably a little bit controversial or maybe a little bit surprising. So you might enjoy that too. So make sure you stick around. This will be a little bit of a longer update, because I feel like in the last video I just didn't have the mental energy to do this. So if you've watched the previous video, you understand why. But today I feel a lot more relieved and I don't feel as mentally drained. So I'm going to answer those questions, and I think you're going to really like them. You pinch me, mate. So the first site we're doing here is called the umbilicus. With Skinfold readings, it's recommended to do each site 3 times and then take the average. But with all the years of Skinfold readings that I've been doing, what I've found is that the more times you pinch the same site, the more the myofascia underneath starts to break up and you start getting different readings. So I actually prefer to just take the first reading each time, so that I find that's a little bit more of a consistent reading. So I'm doing all the right side of my body. This is the axilla, down the side of the body there. Some sites we measure with a tape measure just to make sure it's always in the same spot, and others I always take from a certain line. Like, for example, the axilla, I always take it from my bra line, just to make sure that it's always in the same spot. Because if you get in a different spot, there's going to be a different amount of fat in that area. So I've kind of got my favourite ways of doing each site. The pec is a little bit of a waste of time on females. It's more accurate on males, but you need all the sites to be able to plug it into the little calculator and get the total results at the end. So some of these sites, like back is very helpful for females and males, but because the readings are generic across all genders, then you just have to do all of the sites and then type that into this little algorithm, and then it spits out your body fat percentage, how much lean mass you have, and all that sort of thing. So Skinfolds are not necessarily the most accurate way. I don't think anything is the most accurate way, but I like using the same method every time. So obviously this is convenient for me because I can do it from home. My partner knows how to do it properly. So I just use Skinfold readings because of the convenience. But if you have access to a bioscan or a DEXA scan or whatever, and you can do it consistently and use the same machine every single time, then I think it's the consistency in the reading that's more important than actually what kind of tool that you use. The thigh is a big one for me. It's always the last to change, so it's always the highest reading. And basically my body will lose fat from everywhere else until it's run out of fat, and then the last place it will come off from is my leg. So even though I feel a lot leaner, my leg reading is actually the same this time, which I'll show you soon. So I'm looking at the readings like this, but I'll put them up on the screen so you can see them a little bit more clearly. But this is quite a good result. So 3 days ago is when I took them. Just under 60 kgs, I'm at 13.9% body fat. And you can see there, the second to last column, lean body mass, you can see that that has pretty much consistently come down. So it's gone up and down, up and down, up and down, but it's consistently tracked down, which to me is consistent with when I look at my photos. And this is why photos is always the most helpful form of reference, because you can see I'm less puffy and less bloated. So there, that's definitely a drop in water or glycogen or bloating of some description, which is good. But the fat's come down as well. So now I've got 8.4 kgs of fat in my body. And if I look back at my best ever amount of fat was 6.8. So I've got, a bit to go. A few kilos of fat to come off. And that's easy because I've still got 11 weeks. So I'm in a really good position. So the fact that I've had a few weeks of ups and downs and stuff like that doesn't matter, because I'm still on track. So yeah, good lesson in always trying to be prepared before you need to be prepared. Prepare to be prepared. Is that even a saying? It is now. So I'm very happy with that. I just got to keep carrying on. Keep sticking to the food, stick to the training. I'm going to show you my chest day next. And yeah, then we'll get into the Q&A. This is my last working set for my first exercise, which is a dumbbell chest press. All the other sets were done on that bench, which is next to me, but for this final one, I'm on the floor, and it's just it's probably a bit of a safer option if you're training alone and you want to work with a heavy weight that you don't feel confident doing without a spotter. I think the downside of it is I don't feel like I can press down through my heels and switch my hamstrings on as much as I could as when I'm on the bench. So I don't recommend this for everyone. It's certainly working for me just for my final working set. It gives me a little bit more confidence having this big heavy weight. Those are 45 pounds each, which is I think just over 20 kgs. So not by any stretch a super scary weight, but it's something that's quite heavy for me in chest press. So this is just a slightly safer option for me just for this set. I don't know if this happens to other people when they train chest, but it always happens to me, and it's only on chest exercises where pretty much every single rep absolutely burns, and then I finish the set, let go of the weight, and the burn is gone almost instantly. And I don't know why it's always just chest exercises. From say maybe rep 2 or 3, the burn starts, so it starts really early, and then it's obviously continues through the whole set. So that's why I'm pulling some faces. But as soon as I stop, it's like it's gone. So you can see how I'm like, ugh, and then, oh, okay, I'm all right now. Whereas any other exercises like back exercises, shoulders, legs, whatever, it might start burning halfway through the set and then it really burns. And then when I stop, it takes a little bit of a while for that burn to disappear. So I don't know, it's just chest. Let me know in the comments if that happens to you too, if it's just me and it's just one particular muscle group that's just different from the others. I've been doing dips during my chest workout, and today I decided to try bodyweight ones. But this what do you call this? Roman chair? Is that what it's called? The handles are really wide, so I feel like I'm in a very weak position doing bodyweight dips, and there's nowhere else in this gym to do dips apart from the actual machine. So I only got 4, and I was like, well, that was rubbish. So I'm writing in my book not to bother with bodyweight dips. I can do them elsewhere as long as the handles are a little bit closer together, but that just puts me at a mechanical disadvantage. So back to machine dips, and now I feel like I can really squeeze my elbows together behind my back. With dips in particular, yeah, you're working your triceps. People often think of it as a tricep dip, but you're lengthening through the chest as you come down as well. So as long as you try to lean forward, see how I'm trying to lean forward as I come down? I'm really trying to get it through the chest here. Getting triceps done at the same time is just a bit of a bonus. Right, let's get into these questions. Question number 1, there's 4 in total. Number 1 is, you are such a positive role model for this industry. Well, thank you. If a person wants to train and eat like a bodybuilder at 63, how do you figure out nutrition, especially macros? So much varying info on the internet. So first of all, if you want to eat and train like a bodybuilder but not necessarily compete, the good news is you don't even need to really worry about calories or macros. I mean, it will become important later, but it's certainly not the first step or the most important part. I would say the first part is actually start tracking what you do on a regular basis. And it's better if you do this when you don't know what the right answer is. Because I think when you're tracking your data, if you're trying to reach something, then you've got that pressure on you. But when you keep data such as a food diary and stuff like that, you want it to just be completely unemotional and exact record of what's going on. So if you track your food and liquid intake as well for say a 3-week period, and you do it Monday to Sunday, and you include all the extras like every time you eat off the plan or like bites and licks and taste and stuff like that, and then you go back over the 3 weeks, you'll be able to see patterns in your own behavior. And it'll be little things like, oh, I didn't realize I was having that many coffees, or some days I'm having 3 meals and some days I'm having 5 meals, so my nutrition intake is going up and down. There'll be some really obvious big things that even if you're not well versed in nutrition, that you'll know probably needs to be improved. And most people actually do have a very basic understanding of
healthy versus unhealthy. So most people know they need to eat some vegetables, and vegetables are good for you. And we all know that things like ice cream and processed food is not good for us. But you might be able to spot clues in your own behavior that are going to give you quite a good result without having to worry about the small stuff yet. And it'll be things like, if you're always skipping breakfast, then maybe you're getting really hungry and you're overeating at lunch. So you might just want to start introducing a small healthy meal in the morning, half an omelette or fruit smoothie or something like that. Later on, once you've been doing this for a while, you'll start to be able to systemize what you've been having. And when you get to that point and you're quite consistent with what you're having, you'll be able to start figuring out which foods work for you and which ones don't. So there'll be certain vegetables that make you feel bloated. There'll be certain proteins that just don't sit well in your stomach, and then there'll be some that you can eat a lot of and feel really good. So you start to swap and change based on the food that actually works for you, and that makes it much easier to stick to your plan as well. When you've been doing that for a while, then you might want to use any app that has calories in it, that tracks calories, and plug in a typical day's worth of eating. But you can only do this part when you know that what you're doing, what you're typing in, it really is a typical day's worth of eating. So it's not something that you are planning to do, it's something that you normally do. And it'll spit out a number, it'll say how many calories you've been having, macros and stuff like that. And then you'll know from there, okay, well, over the past X amount of weeks or months, I maintained my weight. So that number that comes out, that's your maintenance. If you've been putting on body fat, then you know that that number is a calorie surplus for you. And if you've been losing body fat, then you know that that number is a calorie deficit for you. So that's kind of the easiest way. And then from there, you can kind of adjust based on what you want your goals to be. So if you're at maintenance, but you want to lose body fat, you're going to have to take some calories away. And the best place to take it from is whatever is the most calorie dense food that you've been eating. So the highest amount of calories for the amount of food that you get. And it's not going to be the vegetables, that's for sure. So that's quite a simple first step for most people. Now, if you eventually want to get to a point where you do want to get on stage, or you want to achieve close to that look, you can get there, and then it will be later on down the track where you start splitting hairs with the macros and stuff like that. So I think that's why a lot of people do get confused with the information on the internet, because they've never done that first step where they've figured out what their current intake really is, because then you can just make small adjustments to what's actually happening in your life. Otherwise, if you go straight to macros or calories or something like that, and you've never done this step, it's going to feel like you're going from one extreme to another, because you're not making small adjustments. You're basically turning your whole life upside down, and that's when it becomes hard to sustain. So this way might take a little bit longer, but this is how you make it sustainable. And then when you achieve X result, you're going to feel like you didn't do too much work, and you can add another change and another change and another change. So that's my advice to anyone who's wanting to find something they can actually stick to and improve on later on. So I'm not saying that macros are not helpful. What I am saying is that I think there's a step before it that a lot of people miss, which means when they do start to look at macros, it feels like they're either being extreme or it's something that they can't stick to. So hopefully that helps. Question number 2, in the natural bodybuilding contests you do, are there girls who do steroids but come off them for the competitions? Look, yeah, probably. But if I'm being completely honest, I don't take that much notice. I'm not bothered if that's what people are doing. I think when it comes to competing and making the choice to go down that road, and I'm talking about, taking performance enhancing drugs and things like that, it's always a personal choice. And what other people choose to do, that's totally fine. They're going to have their own reasons for doing it. But for me, when it comes to competing, the reason why I love competing so much, or why I choose to do it consecutively, is because of how it benefits other areas of my life. I know that when I've got a big goal, and I'm talking about something that's like scares me a little bit and excites me a lot, I start projecting a different type of energy, and that really benefits me and my job, my friendships. I think I have a better outlook on life when I have something that I'm striving for, when I have like a mission. That really makes me feel fulfilled, and it also keeps me in a routine. So it keeps me training, keeps me food prepping, makes me want to go to sleep early, drink more water. So it basically is my reason for living a much healthier life. It kind of just ties everything together. So if I were to go down that road and start taking stuff, it's not going to make those other areas of my life any better than they are now. So I guess there's no extra benefit for me in terms of going down that road. I've done a lot of comps in the past that were drug tested. I've done a lot of comps that were not drug tested. I do both because I can. So I can just choose comp dates based on when I want to compete, regardless of whether they're natural or not natural. You've got to really know what your reasons are for competing, because then it's easy to make decisions about, you know, how much work you're going to put into it, what else you're going to do. And if you do bring something in, is it going to enhance your experience? And if the answer is no, then I suppose there's no reason for you to do it. So I'm not for or against anyone else doing it, but for me personally, I didn't see that it was going to enhance my life in any way. So I just chose not to go down that road. Number 3, you look great. Oh, thank you. Do you monitor hormones at all? For example, do you use HRT? No and no. I've never monitored my hormones, never taken HRT. Not that I'm against it, I just haven't gone down that road. I'm 41 now, and I don't feel like anything has shifted yet. I know it will one day, being a female. I do think probably after this comp season I will go get blood tests done, but it'll be specifically to see if I'm deficient in anything, and is there any way that I can optimize my health even further. Knowing that though, there's a few areas of my life where I still could improve things, which will naturally improve the results that I get on that blood test. For example, my sleep is still not great, which can affect your testosterone levels. If I can get myself to a point where I've had really good sleep, then I think that's a good time for me to go get a test, because I've basically done everything that I can to optimize my health before I go get the test done. So I think that there's a few areas in my life that I still need to sort things out habit-wise, and then it will be beneficial for me to do that. So it is in the plan to eventually have a look at that stuff and see if there's anything that I can learn about myself. And if the doctor ever said that I was particularly low in something and they recommended HRT, 100% I'll go down that road. So I know I certainly don't need it now, and not against anyone who has, but I just don't, again, I don't feel like I'm at a point right now where it's needed for me. So yeah, the answer to that is no and no. Question number 4, do you do online coaching? Yes, I do. I don't promote it much on YouTube though. And that's more because my coaching program is not the norm. I don't tell people what to eat. I don't prescribe macros, or I don't prescribe calories. I teach people how to construct their own meals and help them build their own meal plans. So it's all based around their goals, and there's accountability to do so. But there's a huge element of learning involved and education, and some people just don't want that. They just want a coach to do all that work for them, which is fine. It's a completely different service. Mine's a little bit different, where there's education involved in it. I like doing it that way because then I feel like the person can continue with pretty much what they've learned even after they finish coaching with me. So I find it's more of a sustainable component in a way. So it's more of a lifestyle online program. I mean, I've coached competitors as well, and bodybuilders and people for stage. But my favorite thing to do is just coach people for genuine body transformation. So people that want more muscle and less fat, regardless of the reason for it. So someone might be doing that to get on stage, but some people just follow this system and then they just end up with a stage body anyway. It does take a little bit longer because of the education part, but that's why I don't promote it a lot, because I think most people on the internet are just looking for, something a little bit simpler to follow, and that's totally fine. But if you do want to find out more about it, I will put the link in the description. You can read about it. And then tomorrow I'm actually doing a live stream because I've got a new program starting, which is a very high level of accountability. It's got a big blackmail in it, so it's not for everyone. I'm going to do a live stream about that as well on YouTube, so you can hear more about it. So there might be a couple of people that are interested in it, but again, I don't push that either, because these are the types of programs that people actually have to really want to do. So if you're just kind of looking around for something that's like simple to follow, mine will not be the right one. I'll put the information there if you want to have a look. But if you just enjoy my videos and want to watch them, that helps me too. Keep commenting, keep asking me questions. I hope you enjoyed this update, and I'll see you in an upcoming video.